Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I work with a lot of individuals with attachment wounds. Today, I wanted to go over a topic that I have been asked a couple times, but also something I've observed in my practice, specifically with couples that break up. And I notice avoidants are a little bit more picky with who they leave when it comes to a long-term relationship. And I wanted to talk about the types of people that I observe that avoidants cannot love for a long time. It's very challenging for them to because these traits are the opposite of their own wound, and so it continuously triggers them. So often what ends up happening is they don't want to stay. And so that's what I wanted to get into today. The first trait that I noticed that is probably the most apparent and obvious for these individuals is any individual that is trying to continuously change them. Now, all individuals in a relationship, change is necessary to continue to have a healthy relationship because all individuals change. And so how this kind of works when I mean continuously change is I see a lot in couples therapy or even individual therapy where someone is expressing something to me. What ends up happening is one partner who is not the avoidant is continuously picking on lots of things about their partner. It can be very simple things. It might not necessarily be even what makes them avoidant, even though the partner may perceive it that way. So examples could be, and I know these are going to sound a little silly, but I promise this is reality. I see this a lot. It might be how the avoidant partner is dressing, right? So maybe the partner will be like, we're going to therapy, and let's say it's an in-person session, because I have both. I have telehealth and in-person. And some of my patients, when they're telehealth, they're comfortable wearing their more comfortable clothes, but when they come into office, they want to look a little bit nicer. It's just, I guess it's more like social norms in the area I'm in. But their partner may pick at the avoidant individual and say, why are you wearing just a t-shirt and sweats? Like, I wish that you wore something nicer. Or they may say, I asked you to change get the car oil change and you haven't done that. Or I'm asking you to do X, Y, and Z. You're not doing that. And they continuously tell them to try and change the way they operate. Whereas the avoidant individual, it's not that they're not doing it. They're systematic. Like a lot of avoidant individuals, some of them, especially fearful avoidance, particularly with like tasks, like changing the oil or getting their inspection or whatever it is, they prefer to schedule it so that they know that that was blocked in their time. Sorry, this is a little random, but I'm trying to explain. It's the way they operate. They tend to schedule things. They don't like to do it on the fly because especially fearful avoidance, not all of them, because they want to make sure that they can allot other times. They are very protective over their time. And their partner wants them to just do it right away. And that's just not how they operate. So this one particularly really rubs avoidance the wrong way. I can see it where it's like, oh my gosh, I see this one a lot. Wow, I don't even know why I didn't bring this one up. Like eating habits. Some avoidant individuals can be picky about what they're eating. Not all of them. This is more common with female avoidance, by the way. But I do see this with male avoidance where they don't want to always eat something and their partner may take it offensively or they may criticize the way their partner is. For example, if their partner cooks something for them and the avoidant partner doesn't really like it or is not enjoying that food, what their partner does instead of trying to correct how they're cooking to make their partner, it more palatable for their partner, what they do is they get upset and they almost force their partner to eat it. I see this a lot. This is probably more with like long-term marriages and couples, but you have no idea how often I see this in my office. It's really silly, but it's very legitimate. Or the avoidant partner says, I don't want to eat, like I'm not hungry, or they've eaten only one plate and their partner may take offense. So their partner might be like, I don't want any more. And their partner will literally give them food. And in session, this is like something that they both like complain about where the partner is saying, I don't understand why he's saying this. It's probably because he doesn't like what I'm eating or what I'm serving, or, he's so like rigid and doesn't care about anybody. Like we're supposed to eat at dinner time. And so they take it very personal where the partner may say, I just am not hungry. I don't understand why every single moment has to be a certain way. Why can't I just be myself? And so it's not just trying to change them as an avoidant, like who they are in terms of their wounds. Because some of these traits, the avoidant individual, even if they're healed, they're still going to be a little rigid, especially for anxious partners. That really bothers them. Anxious partners, they feel very uncomfortable when things are not in their control because it introduces uncertainty, and they're scared of uncertainty, which is understandable. But this trait does not bode well in long-term relationships with avoidance. And I'm sharing this because I feel like a lot of people don't realize they're doing it, because it's not coming from malice. Like, you guys are not forcing your partner to eat because you want to hurt them. It's not like that at all. You're trying to, in your mind, you're trying to change something that's bothering you. But that's not always the way it works. A lot of times it may be, this one I see a lot, and I feel really bad about this one, because a lot of partners don't even like admitting this to their partner. So I can't blame their partner for not knowing this. But a lot of avoidant individuals, they like hide certain hobbies they have from their partner. Like, I have some patients where, like, maybe she likes to play an instrument, right? And she's embarrassed by her partner maybe criticizing what she's doing, or telling her to, I don't know, throw away her instrument because it doesn't do anything, or it's a waste of time. Or like, I don't know, in my area, which is going to sound silly, I think it's in all areas. And like, some people like to play like card games, like, what is it called? Like Pokemon cards or something. And they are embarrassed by that in general, because I think it's not like popular or something. Sounds really silly. So they're like already very embarrassed about it. And their partner will think it's like childish, so they want to throw it away. Like, grow up, be a man, whatever it may be. And they may hide those hobbies from them because they feel like, you're trying to change who I am. I'm really uncomfortable. I see this so much. Or it's like the person may like to listen to like heavy metal music, where their partner's like, stop listening to so much music that has cursing in it. So trying to continuously change them is going to be extremely, extremely triggering. And it's just not going to work. I haven't seen it. Maybe it does, but this one is probably the most important, which is why I put it first. Because I feel like there's some people that only watch like the beginning part of the video. So I just wanted to mention the most important one, I think. One of the most important ones. The next one is believes that if the avoidant isn't doing something that their partner wants them to do, that the avoidant doesn't love them. So if the avoidant individual hasn't labeled the relationship right away, or hasn't married them right away, or, I don't know, been comfortable going to Christmas with their family, when this is a huge wound that avoidants have, the partner takes it personally and believes that the avoidant doesn't love them. And so what ends up happening is this creates the partner to feel more insecure, and they may have behaviors that act out, which makes the avoidant push away. But it also makes the avoidant feel like what they are and who they are, what they give, is not enough for their partner. So it creates the shame wound, not creates a shame wound, but it triggers a shame wound. So it actually makes the avoidant individual feel less loving and attached to them. The next one is picks fights when feeling insecure or wanting reassurance. I have so much to say about this, but I don't even know how to start. Picking fights is probably one of the more triggering ones on this list for avoidance. And I want to share something. And this is common. So it's not like I'm sharing one specific patient's story and they're going to find it. No. I'm just sharing like tidbits of what I see, and I'm giving examples, okay? So it's not a real patient. It's based on patients, but it's not a real patient. It's just an example. Like, anyone could make up this example. Mine just seems more accurate because it's my line of work. But it's just an example, okay? It's not coming from anywhere. But, okay. Picking fights is one of the more ways that anxious individuals, this is what I observed, and you guys probably can correct me, but I'm I'm confident with this one, because I think anxious individuals don't necessarily recognize it. Somewhere, an anxious individual, and they're right about this, by the way, anxious individuals are very, they can perceive emotions from multiple layers, which is very impressive. Anxious and fearful avoidants who are leaning anxious, they are able to do something which avoidance cannot do, and that's why this becomes a conflict. They recognize that if you pick a fight with somebody and they have an emotional reaction, that's partly a sign that the person cares a little bit, even if it's not love, but they value the person's opinion just a little bit, and probably more than a little. And so somewhere subconsciously, an anxious person picks a fight when they're feeling insecure or wanting reassurance about maybe anything in the relationship. They're feeling insecure about something, but they may not pick a fight directly about that. They may just, and it's not doing it on purpose, right? They're trying to reestablish the security that they're feeling. They're feeling insecure. So sometimes what happens is they need to get it out. And then after the fight, they feel more loved, and more connected and more happy. They feel, I hear this so much with anxious individuals, and it's not the same way with avoidant individuals and fearful. Anxious and fearful. After a fight, they feel closer to their partner. I hear this so much, and it is confusing. And especially if you're an avoidant or was an avoidant or you work with, like, it's just a very confusing sentence. And what actually happens is the anxious partner feels closer when they have fights and they work through things, which is good. It's actually good because there is research that does suggest, in general, like many research that suggests constructive fighting can create individuals that are closer, right? But avoidant individuals, especially, they're very conflict avoidant. And so they actually feel further. So I've seen this where one partner, seriously, I'm giving an example, but this is very genuine. Like, I hope this helps. An anxious partner will say, I feel so much closer after our argument. Afterwards we hugged and we made up and it felt so connected. I feel so much safer in this relationship now that I know my partner has my back. And the avoidant individual has said or will say, or they're feeling, after this relationship, this fight, I actually feel like I love my partner less. And that is the very difficult situation for avoidant individuals and someone who's anxious or fearful. This is a big issue because the lack of fights makes the anxious or fearful individual feel, where is this going? What's going on? I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling like I don't know what's going to happen next. I feel like maybe I don't know if you like me. I feel out of control in the situation. But the avoidant individual is feeling amazing. They're like on cloud nine. They're so happy. They're feeling like this is the one for them. Like, avoidant individuals don't like fights, and they do not feel closer typically after a fight. I've heard patients say, I remember similar experiences where an avoidant individual will like crash out at their partner. They're upset and they're like, just, please stop saying that. Please stop doing that. And the anxious or fearful will say, okay, I'll stop doing that, because they're more willing sometimes. And they may say, don't you feel better just expressing that to me? And the avoidant individual will be completely honest and say, no, I feel horrible. This was not that important in general. If it was, I would have brought it to you. It's not. It's only important now because you keep bringing it up. It's not that important to me. I don't feel good. This is not feeling good for me. And I think a lot of times individuals don't get that. Avoidant individuals do not feel good in fights. Sometimes they may feel more fulfilled if it's more constructive, but if it becomes to an emotional level, they don't like it. And continuous fights, avoidant individuals will struggle to love that person because they literally start feeling less of the love as the fights continue. I'm just being honest, okay? The next one is avoidant individuals struggle to love individuals who are in continuously denial of their own actions and barriers that cause issues in the relationship. I'm thinking of some relationships that I'm working with, and the first example that I can kind of come up with is, let's say we have an anxious patient. Let's say she's a female, and we have a dismissive avoidant male, and she is saying, my partner never changes. My partner never listens to me. I see this a lot. You never change. You never listen. And the avoidant individual may respond something like, that's an exaggeration. Why do you all say never? Then I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to walk out. Let's say it's in a session. I don't want to do this session anymore. Let's say they calm down. We do some strategies and they're feeling better. And the avoidant individual, maybe they'll open up and they'll say something like, the only reason why I'm feeling upset is because you keep pressuring me. I'm not an angry person typically. I'm not like this. I'm more angry and irritable because you keep like pushing things onto me. And the anxious partner, maybe she'll say something like, that's not true. Like, you're moody, you're an avoidant. That's why I brought you here. I want you to understand your problems because you shouldn't be irritated at me. I should be able to feel how I want, and you should be able to understand because I'm your wife. Let's just say that's the conversation. That is denial and of, her own actions, that she's pushing onto him something which is causing a reaction. I'm not saying his reaction is correct. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the reaction would not have happened at all had she have not continuously pushed throughout the marriage. And so her being in denial of those actions and why this is causing an issue in the relationship is making him not feel like there's a solution. The only solution that she has brought in this example is that he has to basically roll over and do what she's asking and not have any emotional response. That feels very trapped, and that's a trigger that avoidance feels. So a lot of times they're just going to leave. And so these individuals in general, for all of these in this example, all of these points in this video, these types of traits that I'm sharing are typically the ones where avoidants struggle to stay and they often leave. That's the point of this video. And this one is a big one. And I don't think people recognize this is what's happening, right? The next one is avoidants really struggle to stay with individuals who play games to get their attention. Avoidants don't like games, and they feel that it's very confusing, and it makes them feel like they're not being trusted because they have to be manipulated to get some output. And they also feel like they can't trust you because then they don't know if you're genuine with what you're trying to say. So playing games could even mean like trying to get your partner jealous. You're feeling insecure. Maybe your partner hasn't initiated in the bedroom in a while. So you're, going to text somebody, or you're going to mention, hey, my ex hit me up. That's not going to make your partner feel good. It's going to make them feel less attached to you. They're going to feel like this relationship is unstable. I can't trust you. I can't be myself. I can't, my nature is that sometimes I don't want to, connect emotionally. It has nothing to do with you. I can't connect physically all the time. It has nothing to do with you. But if this is how you're going to react and you're going to play these games to make me behave the way you want, even though I'm just being myself, I don't know if this relationship is going to work because I can't do that, right? This is just the way avoidants are. And I actually am not saying this is wrong or right, but I recommend if you cannot handle being with an avoidant, just like an avoidant, a lot of you guys cannot handle being with an anxious partner, maybe it's best that you find other alternatives, whether it's you guys change your attachment style or you guys find other partners, because these types of relationships can become very unhealthy. They take a lot of time and energy for these individuals, and it hurts a lot for both individuals. And it's hard for anybody, a therapist, a person, to see individuals continuously hurt themselves. So if you feel like you have to play games, maybe this relationship isn't for you. And if you're an avoidant and your partner keeps playing games, maybe the relationship isn't for you. It's a hard truth, but I'm just being honest, okay? The next one is avoidants struggle to love somebody who lacks accountability after the avoidant opens up and expresses what they need. So similar to denial, very similar. But when I mean lacks accountability, when I mean denial, it's like they put something on or they blame the other person. Lacks accountability could mean that they shut down or they say this is not a problem, right? So similar to what we already mentioned, denial is a fourth one. This one is a sixth one. Lacks accountability would be more so an avoidant individual can say, because I see this a lot actually. I think this will surprise you, but I see it a lot. Avoidant individuals, maybe they say, how would I word it? They want some form of like romance, but I'm trying to word it so you guys can understand. Okay. Individuals who tend to be anxious or fearful, because they're so insecure about relationship issues. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. It's part of your wounds. I'm not judging. Sometimes what happens is they like to maintain some form of control in the relationship where it's like they want to maybe have access to their partner's phone, or they want to make sure that they always, have intimacy 3 times a week or 2 times a week. And this is way more common with anxious, by the way. Whatever their feeling is, like they feel like if this is not happening, then they're not getting what maybe they feel like they deserve, or this relationship isn't good enough, or they're not being treated right. So maybe they feel like they have to have, gifts at certain times, or Valentine's Day has to be X, Y, and Z. They feel this way, and that's how they measure love. And an avoidant individual opens up and says, love doesn't have to be that way. Love can be, I like when it's natural and we're, connecting together, or even when we're walking in the park together. To me, that's romantic. Something like that. They open up and they were honest, but a partner may, lack accountability and say, that's not a problem. That's not an issue. Like, this is not that's not an issue. We don't have a problem with romance. As long as we do these things, there's no issue. And the avoidant individual is saying, like, when we're doing that stuff, I don't feel like it's romance. Like, sometimes, not all the time, but often they don't feel like it. They feel like it's pressure. So they're trying to tell you they want more romance, and you're just saying, no, we don't have that issue. And that is lack of accountability of this issue that the avoidant is saying. They're trying to say, be accountable that I'm feeling controlled, but it's just not happening. I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but sometimes I'm just saying this on the fly. So it is what it is, okay? The next one is, I would say, like, continuously or constantly being negative or complaining. There's definitely another word that is more common in my practice that patients say, but I'm not going to say it. But complaining. I'm sure you guys know the curse word of that version. They don't like when people are constantly complaining in general. They don't like any of their friends doing this, any of their coworkers. And so if their partner is always complaining about everything, it really bothers them. It's too hot. It's too cold. That, we don't have a big enough house. We don't have enough friends. We never go to dinner parties. You never do X, Y, and Z. Complaining in general, not satisfied with life. Avoidant individuals feel very let down by that, because avoidant individuals, believe it or not, they put a lot of effort into trying to enjoy their life. Avoidant individuals, a lot of them struggle with a mild and more extended long-term depression, moderate sometimes, but it's like a persistent or major depressive disorder, depending on what side, depending on how they've been diagnosed. But that's a really common diagnostic impression that I see with avoidance. Believe it or not, a lot of them have anxiety as well, but we don't need to get into that. It's just different. It's but they are struggling and fighting with their own unhappiness with a lot of things. So they put a lot of structure in their life, or a lot of, hope that things will get better. They try. A lot of them are fighting this. And if you're constantly negative, you're bringing them down, and you're reacting to a lot of what they're already dealing with. As a young child, avoidant individuals dealt with a lot of critical individuals, a lot of people who complain a lot. So it's very triggering for them. It makes them feel like you're just unhappy, and there's nothing they can do to make you happy. And that's discouraging for them, because they're trying hard. A lot of them are. They really are. Because if they're with you and you've seen some significant change, it's very hard for them to connect with people, so they're trying hard. So by you never being happy, it makes them feel like they're never going to be enough. What's the point in staying in this relationship, right? And the very last one is disrespect. If you guys have watched my channel, you guys know how I feel about disrespect in general, me personally, and a lot of avoidants feel this way as well. Disrespect is something that I don't think is healthy in a relationship. And avoidant individuals tend to agree. They don't like if you're comparing to them, oh, avoidants are evil, all avoidants cheat, or men are this way, or women are this way, or, whatever it is. How come you can't be like our neighbor Larry? How come you can't be like my buddy's wife? How come you can't be like this? Disrespect, right? Trying to change them, but in a disrespectful way. Notching them down, making them feel like they're less than, and your opinion matters more. This is very triggering for an avoidant individual. And this is something that avoidant individuals, they cannot stay with a person like this, because it continues to lower them to where they don't like to be. It makes them feel less than. And avoidant individuals don't like that feeling. It's traumatic for them. That's actually the neglect wounds that they have. And so a lot of individuals will leave relationships where disrespect is very prevalent. I hope that makes sense. Please subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one.